Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Game Over Ottawa. Before we get too into anything on the game, just want to say a quick message from all of us here at Game Over Ottawa, especially, but the Game Over Network in general. Just want to say rest in peace to Sean Simpson, who was an incredibly important member of the Ottawa sports media world. Joined at the time the Team 1200, now TSN 1200, back in 2012, I believe, and has been a constant voice in the city. And you know, as it turns out, tonight the Sens played the Washington Capitals, the team that drafted him, the team where he continued on his hockey career as a scout, and I believe he was the I just want to double check because I'm gonna make an ass of myself here. He was director of player of hockey operations with the Caps as well. So I just wanted to, say that at the top of the show. Just say, we're all thinking about his family and his friends. And it's a really, really rough day in the sports media world, in Ottawa especially. So there's no easy way of hitting a really silly button like the Sens button after something like that. So I think I got to do it. We're just gonna have to take a hard turn because it's tough to transition from that to anything else. But the Ottawa Senators have beat the Washington Capitals 5-4 in overtime. The second time these teams have gone to overtime in the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago today, they went to overtime. So also, once again, I'm joined by my buddy Sam, the number one Caps fan of Australia, and I'm sorry I got to do this to you, dude.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm hitting the Sens button. It's it's done. It's done.
All
it
right.
happened.
So I
happened.
need to reveal the score now, right?
Yes, you do. You absolutely do.
There it is.
There, look at that.
OT 5-4. The 5 going towards the Sens. I'm not happy about it, but at the same time, that was a game where no one was playing particularly well. It could have gone any way. It went towards the Sens in this case.
Yeah, real quick, before we get into the game, I just want to tell you all about Hyperdrive Hockey, because, I don't know why you'd be watching this if you're not a Sens or a Caps fan, but important to know that the Game Over Network does span across all the Canadian cities, but also we do have a flagship show where we talk about everything. Shift into Hyperdrive and get ready to have some fun with your new source for all the biggest stories in hockey, bringing a unique style of broadcasting and commentary with a Quebecois flavor. Hyperdrive Hockey combines top-tier hockey analysis, big stories, pop culture, and a damn fun atmosphere that will drive debate, make you think, and more. Join Max, Daphne, and Kevin every Monday and Thursday for your fill on the hockey world. Watch on YouTube on the Game Over Network channel or subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or Amazon. Head to our website, thegameovernetwork.com, for more. And you're going to be seeing a lot more Game Over faces, or familiar faces from Game Over on that show. They're doing a week, I believe it's a weekly segment where the Game Over hosts are coming in with some hot takes. And one of the best takes that I saw from, I think it was last week, I'm pretty sure it was Zach from Game Over Toronto, said the Four Nations face-off is only 4 teams because they want to make sure that Canada finishes in the top 4 in something. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Be sure to go check that out. So, speaking of hockey, there's a hockey game tonight between the Sens and the Caps. And
Do we talk about hockey on this show?
Sometimes, occasionally, once in a while. Let's go over this game because it was. I don't know if you can have a game that's more different from the game these two played 2 weeks ago.
I think this is the most different game I've seen the entire season for either team. This was a weird game.
Really odd. So let's just get straight into it. So most of these goals have an interesting storyline attached to them at the very least, or something interesting going on. Game starts with Ridley Gray gets Ottawa on the board in the power play. David Perron with a phenomenal pass to find Greg's skate in front of the net.
I felt so bad for Lindgren because I actually kind of feel like this is a thing for every single goal. I don't think there was a single goal scored that you could really blame the goalie for.
I'll
And
say
that
on Washington's
intro,
side, yeah, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
fair enough.
That's
But
David
that
Prom's
first
first.
goal,
Yeah,
oh,
that's David Prom's first point of the season. By the way, he's now got that. That was his first point in, I believe, including tonight, 13 games. He's been dealing with like injury problems this season, and he had to take some time away. Um, to be with his family earlier this season. So, he's had a bit of a rough start to the season, hasn't really had a long stretch of games to put it together, and it's great seeing him really start to kind of figure things out and kind of catch
it
up, because
was
he's had a slow start. A lot of that
well. He's
completely out
showing
of
that
his
he still
control.
got it.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
pass was elite. That was an incredible pass. Like I was telling you you were actually complaining about how bad the Sens power
as
play
as
was
that goal,
at the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
That became a common thing.
yeah.
And then then Perron, like while up against the boards, unless I'm mixing this up with another goal, manages to slip it over like past Ferravari, I think past Carlson as well. Like I don't know how he managed to spread the caps out like that, but he just got it. And that tip in from Greg was so perfect. Like Lindgren was cheating out to the side.
Yeah.
Nothing he could have done about it. Like it was. I wasn't even mad. I was like, okay, I'm just glad I got to see that. That's just good fucking hockey.
It's great hockey. Connor McMichael ties the game. I have no idea what Shabbat was doing on that play.
Mm.
That was a play where McMichael found himself with the puck in the corner with what felt like, he probably could have held the puck for 30 seconds before anyone caught him. He was all alone there, and he beats Forsberg, and I don't want to fully put that on Forsberg because, like,
It was a sick goal.
I'm looking at it here, unfortunately. Game Over is working on getting those NHL rights to play highlights in mid-show. But yeah, like Forsberg, I don't know he bit very hard on that pass.
Mm.
I don't know what that was about. He's up against the post. He sees McMichael with like just nothing but time and space, and he kind of makes a move, look like he's going to pass. Forsberg bites, and he leaves not like a huge space available for McMichael, but he had all the time in the world to find that whole tie game.
I mean, Mick Michael, I think, is probably still young enough and unknown enough that he's a very good player, and I don't really think he gets. Part of the reason he's had such a big season is because he doesn't get the respect he deserves from the opposition. They he sees him like, oh, he's going to pass that. There's no
Mhm.
way he'd have try and do something else. I don't recognize him. He's like he's not that big a deal, but he's a very good player. He hasn't scored a goal since January 4th. So I didn't, not only did I bench him, I I swapped him out for Alexi Protas in my fantasy hockey. So the minute Michael scored, I was like, come on. It was literally yesterday I swapped it out for this game, and he gets another goal. But he's been doing pretty well. Like I think 4 assists in his last 7 games. So it's not like he's been terrible.
No.
But he's
Yeah.
not that well known name yet. So I get why they might have decided to bite a little early on him.
Yeah. Then the Sens take the lead for a couple of minutes. Kachuk scores. It's taken back because of goaltender interference from Drake Batherson. Tough to argue that one. Uh, as wishy-washy, as impossible as it is to nail down what goaltender interference was, I mean, that was pretty.
It's a vibe.
It's
Goaltender
yeah,
interference is a vibe.
yeah. It's just a vibe. Then later on, um, actually, I didn't. What I didn't even talk about was in the first period, that 5-on-3 that Ottawa had to start the game, after two separate too many men penalties on the
The
Caps.
first one, yes. The second one, that it just wasn't.
It's a
It just simply
bit of a
wasn't.
stretch, but I feel like I should have brought that up.
I remember you said like, well, his foot was still on the ice. I was like, excuse me.
Sometimes I agree with the refs, whether they're right or not.
I don't think you actually agreed with them there. I think you were just happy to get a power play.
Yeah, didn't do much though. Later on in the second period, Josh Norris gets a penalty shot after being tripped by Carlson on a breakaway, and he scores. And today I learned, I genuinely did not know this, despite like being a hockey obsessive for like, God, 20 years now.
You
I
know
did not
stats.
realize that when you score on a penalty shot while shorthanded, apparently it counts as a shorthanded goal.
I don't agree with that. If anything, it's the other team
like,
is
technically, I don't know, because like you're taken down on the breakaway on the PK, which in itself is impressive that you have a breakaway on the PK. So I understand why, but like I don't, when you see like the SH next to the goal on the score sheet next to Josh Norris's name, I never would have pictured a penalty shot. It's really
So
interesting.
congratulations to people who had them in their fantasy team and getting that extra short-handed point. I don't think you deserve it, but you have it. But that penalty kill, because then right after that, Ottawa scored another goal. And
Yeah, 38 seconds
I was
later.
so pissed off.
38 seconds later on that same PK, there's a 2-on-1 heading down towards the cap end. Pinto finds Norris with a great pass. Lindgren makes a phenomenal save on Norris, but just can't get that rebound back. As I mean, Lindgren's like diving. He's making a desperation save on Norris, and he makes it work. Pinto finds the rebound, puts it in, and it's 3-1 Ottawa all of a sudden. And that's a score heading into the third. By that point, you know, despite a 3-1 score, it didn't feel super like in favor of anybody. Like the game didn't feel like anyone was dominating at that point. It felt fairly
No, it was. Let's
even.
face it. It really wasn't great hockey from either team.
No, it was a little bit all over the place. I do think that, you know, the lack of 5-on-5 time probably contributes to that a little bit. And I do want to talk about that specifically after we talk about the third period.
Did you actually find the stat for that, for how much 5-on-5 was
No,
actually played?
I haven't been able to find how many 5-on-5 minutes were played in this game, but I'd love to know if anyone can find that. Heading into the third period, the back and forth penalties continue. By the way, might as well just mention it now. Both teams, like, they weren't bad on the Caps were kind of bad on that one specific power play where they gave up 2 goals.
So atrocious.
but on an overall level, the Caps went 2 for 6 on the power play. The Sens went 2 for 5. So neither team was like terrible on the power play. Neither team won because of the power play. Like, I think overall it was just kind of like, honestly, it felt like a very even game. Shots. You know, let's save this for after I talk about the third period. I'm all over the place here. Third period, back and forth penalties continue. Sens will take advantage on that power play. Sanderson scores and makes it 4-2 Ottawa, and Giroux assists on that for point 1100 in his career, which is fucking crazy.
And speaking of another goal that I'm not mad at Lindgren about, because he got that puck through so many dudes.
Yeah, I mean, it went off of Carlson, I think.
Yeah, it bounced off him.
So nothing. You can't blame Lindgren on that at all.
Yeah, screened, deflection. Like, what is he supposed to do there?
Yeah, there's nothing there. Now it's 4-2, and it feels like it's starting to get a little out of hand for Washington. Shortly after that, the Sens get another penalty shot. Time to put the game away. Pinto can't quite get it done. Even though the score is 4-2, Lindgren stares Pinto down after making that save. I'm not sure why, but he decided to just give him a stare down.
I think he was actually more trying to psych himself up, you know, because when it's 4-2, you need any kind of psychological advantage you can get.
Yeah. Just under 7 minutes to go. Caps get right back in it with a goal from who else but Alex Ovechkin. 19 to go to beat Gretzky's record. He fires a shot from like back end of the zone. Has no business getting there, but Forsberg screened by like 20 different guys. Finds the top corner. It's a perfect like floater of a shot. Just like nothing you can do there. Can't blame Forsberg on that one at all. It's 4-3.
It's an Ovi goal.
Yeah, it's an Ovi goal.
He's gone a week without scoring a goal, which made my predictions for when he was going to beat the record a little bit iffy. But technically, I'm still within the perimeters of my math.
It can happen. It can happen.
It can happen.
Then about 90 seconds later, another absolutely brutal defensive breakdown from the Sens. They just can't get control of the puck. It's bouncing everywhere. No one's in the right place. Caps tie the game. Strome tied it, I believe. I didn't
Yeah,
write it
Dylan,
down.
that was his second goal of the night.
I should have written that down. Strome ties the game. And oh my god, dude, 25 seconds. I know this isn't a goal. I've just been going over the goals. 25 seconds later, Hamonic gets caught pinching so deep in the offensive zone. It's a 2-on-1 back the other way. And by some miracle, Forsberg makes a save. I'm not happy with it.
It was
Like, I thought that was it. I thought that was it.
Yeah, me too. It was so close, and I just felt the contents of my stomach just dropped when,
God.
because as soon as like that didn't go in, actually you were saying as they were coming in, you were like, if he doesn't get this is over, and he didn't get it. It wasn't over though, because Chabot with the greatest assist. After the first greatest assist of all time from the start of the game, there was another one to polish it off, to like bookend that. Just two amazing assists. Like, I think do you rate it higher than the Perrin one, the OT goal?
Yeah, Pinto and Norris were OT, and like OT. I mean, it happened 2 weeks ago. I don't know about you. I was just like, okay, Ovi scored. But then a couple of decent chances both ways, and then like just shy of 2 minutes in, there's that battle on the boards where Norris and Pinto are up against the boards fighting for the puck, and all three Caps players are right there with them. And as I'm watching this battle happen, I'm like,
you just start going, find him. You actually started repeating that.
I was like, I didn't know where Chabot was. I didn't know who the third Ottawa Senator on the ice was. I just knew he was somewhere. There was somebody else on the ice somewhere, because just the camera angle, you just saw the Caps zone. And I'm like, there's somebody else here. And I know he's not pinching up super hard, because if that puck goes the other way, he's screwed. But then eventually, somehow Pinto gets control of the puck, figures he does a quick shoulder check, sees where Chabot is. Chabot is just kind of coming down the middle of the Cap zone, kind of gets towards the hash marks. Pinto, I don't know how he finds him with this, like, because I mean, he did look initially. He looks over his shoulder. He spins back this way, and it's not a fully no look pass, because he took a look earlier. He made a quarter look pass. It was a quarter look pass back to Chabot, who is all alone, scores the game winner on his birthday. And the birthday boy, Thomas Chabot, wins the game.
And that pass was an amazing present, because it was so perfect too.
I can't believe
I can't believe where it needed to be. It was wild. I yelled a swear word out very loudly as that happened, because you just knew it was happening. Like,
God.
And if there was anything I would have liked Lindy to have had, it's that, probably the other penalty shot. But that one, I don't know if Chabot's shot
you can't blame him though, man. Chabot's all alone. Like that was a lot like the McMichael goal. All alone all the time in the world. Like, what are you gonna do?
Well, stop the puck.
I mean,
put your body in between the puck and the goal.
In the perfect world, maybe, yeah.
Most of the game.
Does Thompson stop it?
Thompson stops that. Absolutely, Thompson stops that. I truly believe Thompson stops that.
Hypothetically. Yeah. Merlinen stops the McMichael goal. Let's call it even. Sens win 4-3.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are some goals where it's like there's not a goalie alive who can stop that.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about like the shootout, which essentially that kind of turned into a shootout.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to see who the better goalies are when it's just 1-on-1 player versus goalie, and in that situation, I think I don't know if we win the game from there. I think Logan stops that, and I'm not shading Lindgren either, because he's been solid this season. He's been, a really standout player for us. But I mean, like let's be honest, Logan is a Vezina contender this season.
Yeah, I mean I don't think that's a hot take at all. I can't believe he's not on the Four Nations team.
Kia, can you imagine? Like, why would you want a Vezina candidate goalie when you can have Elvis Merzlikin?
God, it's like, man, I don't know. Like, Also, Logan, was that a third round pick for Thompson?
Undrafted.
No. I mean, the Caps gave up. Like, Caps traded.
Oh, I
Was that a
think
third round
so.
pick?
I'll need to Google that. Hang on, I'm gonna ask my device here. Logan Thompson
It's a very
trade.
fun. It's a very fun thing. If I'm right, I'll be happy. I
2/3.
2/3. Okay, so it's not as bad. It's not as much of a. It's still a fleece. It's still a fleece, but God. And then Lindgren. Maybe I don't know why we're talking about Thompson. Lindgren played tonight. God, the penalties though. I think the story of the game is the penalties, and
It was the
by
penalty game.
by some miracle, like I don't think, like, I mean, it depends. Like, I'm looking at it as a fan of the team that won. So like, if I sound like I'm talking some bullshit, let me know. Despite how many penalties there were back and forth, it didn't feel like it like made or broke the game for either team. Both teams. This was such a tight game.
Yeah.
Which for me as a Sens fan, watching the Sens play back-to-back super tight games against the top team currently in the East and finishing those two games
right?
with 3 points, like, that's a great feeling for me. It's a phenomenal
Honestly,
feeling
like,
for me.
I would have liked us to have won that game. I'm happy that we got a point out of it at least. But like, you know, the Sens are just a team that you can't underestimate. And if you do, they will get you for it.
No, you can't underestimate them because I overestimate them every year. Uh, not this year. Apparently, this year I might have underestimated them. Finally, it might have finally happened. I was like, if the
Are you
Sens are
saying
the
it was
second
you were the
wildcard team, I'm
problem?
thrilled. That's what I said at the beginning of the season. Though I will say,
I mean, like,
I do
you
want
know,
to pat
over the
myself
front.
on the back real quick. Because also shout out Marc-Andre Fleury. This all comes together very nicely with this point. Let me just check the updated NHL standings really quick. Because with this win, the Sens have kept their spot at third in the division, which I will get into in a little bit, because that's another thing I want to talk about. The other aspect of this win, along with Montreal's loss, Marc-Andre Fleury shutout against the Habs tonight. Okay, actually, it doesn't look as good as it used to. This was a much better take a few days ago when the Habs were like 1 point behind the Sens. They're currently 5 points back of the Sens. In the off season, Maude and I were doing like an Atlantic Division preview, just kind of like throwing out where we thought teams would land, and we both agreed that the Habs were going to be last in the division. Neither one of us thought for a second that Buffalo would be as bad as they are this year, but I did say that between Montreal and Detroit, I could see Montreal making the playoffs way more if all the young players really start playing well. And that's kind of what's happened this year. They're slowing down a little bit here with losing 4 in a row. Yikes. It got really scary there for a little while. But yeah, what else is there to talk about this game? This game had so much going on. Because there are a couple other things I want to touch on. And in, like, you know, in Sam fashion, when Sam is on the show, especially when it's the two of us and Matt, like whenever it's the two of us with Matt, the show goes off the rails and we talk for like an hour and a half. We're going to try and cap the show at like 40 minutes tonight. So I'd say we got about 15 minutes to go. There are a couple more things I want to touch on, just overall looking at the Sens, looking at the standings, playoffs, whatever it might be. Do you have any of those fun stats? Because you were talking about looking for some fun stats from a Caps point of view for tonight's game. Anything stand out in there for you?
Just how bad our power play was. I think.
I mean, it's a net even. It's a net even. 2 power play goals for, 2 goals against in that time. It's a net even power play at the very least.
But by the second period, though, we had 34.8% of expected goals during the power play. So
that's fucking nuts. That is genuinely insane. Oh wow.
Yeah. We barely got any shots on net. And just on the power play, I kind of wanted to bring up the officiating again because I think 12 or 11 penalties called.
11.
11. How many penalties do you think actually happened? Because I think maybe 3 or 4.
All right, let's say the first. Okay, so on the Caps, Let's pull up the list. Let's pull up the list here. Caps too many men. I'll say one of those.
That counts. You get
David Braun hooking Nick Dowd.
Nah, I didn't see it. Not a penalty.
Taylor Radish high sticking Tim Stutzla.
Debatable, because Tim Stutzla was like crouched on the ground on that one.
Well, if it's debatable, we'll say sure.
Does the stick have to go high, or does it just have to hit someone on the noggin?
Just gotta hit.
The stick wasn't high.
Just gotta smack a noggin. Ridley Gregg hooking Tom Wilson. I think so.
Not a penalty.
Really?
I don't know. I don't rate that. I think his stick got real close. I don't think it actually affected him.
Matthew Highmore tripping Chikrin. That was the play in the corner where the ref was not going to make a call, and then the Caps bench started yelling, and he's like, "Oh, okay, penalty."
That was absolutely a call.
Yeah. Travis Hamnick.
It almost wasn't
hooking Protus. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, give him that one.
John Carlson tripping Norris for the penalty shot. I'll say yes on that one.
That was very funny though, and he had to do it.
Yeah, I mean he had. Yeah. Martin Ferravari delay of game. Yeah. Josh Norris tripping Matt Roy. No. Taylor Radish tripping Jake Sanderson.
No.
Ridley Gregg high stick against TVR. I think so.
I don't even remember that one. I'll give that to you then.
All right, and then Protus penalty shot, tripping Shane Pinto.
No, I don't actually. I don't think that was even a penalty.
That's not bad. That's 7. We counted 7.
Okay, so that's
like 60-something% accuracy. Good job, Raps.
I don't know. I think two of them are debatable for me, but yeah, we will give it to them. Benefit of the doubt.
You think the third and final game between these two teams later on in March goes to OT as well?
It has to. It absolutely has to. Complete that story. I was surprised that with how many penalties actually happened, that it wasn't a more aggressive game. Like it seemed like both teams were both mad at the refs instead of each other. Because that first game got real
it never got. There was a bit of that scrum when it was, I think, not long after that 4-4 goal. There was a little bit of a scrum in front of the Sens net, but it never got like mean, really.
Yeah.
So
that first game was mean.
Yeah, it was a lot rougher. It was a lot rougher. Yeah. All right. I think with that, let's move on to. I know you're a Caps fan. It's an Ottawa show. I'm talking about the Sens being in the division top 3. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. But first, I need to let everyone know that Game Over and the Game Over Network, Game Over Ottawa and the Game Over Network, we got Patreon. Looking for ways to help an upstart media company employing over 30 young journalists and analysts across Canada. If you got a few spare bucks kicking around, I can read. You can head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/thegameovernetwork. There you'll find multiple tiers featuring different rewards and goodies for helping us grow. You can get extra access, exclusive looks behind the scenes, Discord benefits, merch discounts, opportunities to give us feedback, and you can join us for special shows live where you can interact with hosts as we launch more ways to improve your experience. If you're not able to spare a few bucks, we do have a free tier available so you don't miss out on anything. If you really want to help us, make sure to click like and subscribe on YouTube. I know people don't like it when you ask for the like and the subscribe, but people ask for it for a reason, right? It helps us out a whole lot. Rate us 5 stars on your favorite podcast app and share our work with on your social media of choice. Patreon.com/thegameovernetwork for tantalizing goodies. Let's head on over to the second period. Okay, so I want to just take a look at the fact that over the course of the last, I don't know, like 10 or 11 days, I think all but 2 of the last 10 or 11 days, the Sens have been 3rd in the Atlantic. There was a little bit there where they got jumped by Tampa, and I think Tampa and Boston at one point. But for the most part, since the 19th or the 20th of January, the Sens have been 3rd in the Atlantic, which is, I mean,
It's not a terrible division. It's not.
No, that's the thing. Like, it's not a terrible. It's not a great division. Like, the East this year is weird. The East doesn't really have too many really truly awful teams, but there aren't that many like phenomenal teams. Like the difference between, here, like let's see here, like
I'm
the
actually gonna
difference
look up the ladder right
between.
now.
I don't even know where this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like in the East, there are only out of the 16 teams in the East, there's one team. So the Sabres have 43 points. Then every other team has 50 plus points. There are currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the teams in the East are in the 50s for points. Like, that's not a huge amount of separation.
I want to drop the bottom 10 teams. And I want you to tell me if you think they're actually genuinely bad, or are they just having a weird season?
Who's actually bad and who's gonna bounce back, you mean? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Let me just sure I've counted this out right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Number 10, Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh, yeah, they're not good.
Okay, so they're
I love
genuinely
Travis
bad.
Connecting with all my heart. They're not good.
Yeah, I would have thought Matvei Michkov would have had a bigger splash.
On a team
Do you think
coached by Torts? Come on, dude. Come on.
Okay. All right. Yep. Fair enough. Fair enough. Would you still have taken him over Ryan Leonard?
Probably.
Okay. Because that kid is killing it.
Yeah, he's nuts. He's amazing.
I think he's coming for the playoffs, and I'm really excited to see him in a Caps jersey. Next, I think this is a tricky one because they have been historically terrible. Can you guess where I'm going with this one?
Montreal?
Utah. The ex-Arizona Coyotes. The Arizona Coyotes were terrible, but I don't know if Utah has actually been that bad this season.
No, I don't think they've been that
games.
bad. They just haven't been that good.
Yeah,
I don't think they're a legit playoff threat at all.
Oh no, but bottom of the league, I don't know. There's a world where they're sitting above the Islanders, and I'm not confused by that. You know?
Yeah. Okay, so you're just going are you going bottom of the league up?
Bottom of the league down.
Oh,
so
I see.
The Flyers
are
doing better than the Utah.
This is a weird order, but yeah, no, that makes sense.
Best to worst of the worst, essentially.
Sure.
St. Louis Blues.
I'm surprised.
I think that one is.
I thought they were a bit better.
Exactly, they've got Nathan Walker. You know, they should be top of the league.
Right.
No, there's a lot of talent there that I don't know, just doesn't seem to be clicking. But it's hard to call them bad. The next team is horrible. They're the worst team in the league. It just the standings don't reflect that just yet, but it is the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect them anywhere close to the playoffs this year. And apparently they're not going to trade Crosby. Apparently they're not trading him. So,
RIP. I don't like Crosby. I'm not allowed to, but the man deserves to have another run at a cup, and he's
but it's also you got to imagine it's his decision.
Is it?
I think so.
You don't think he wants to have a go with to bring Montreal into playoff contention?
He's got a no move clause. It's up to him to waive it.
I guess. If I was the GM, who's their GM now? What's his name?
I'm so bad with GMs, dude.
It's not important. Something Sullivan. No, he was fired. Whatever. Who it is, if there is one player on that team that is making the Pittsburgh Penguins money, it is Crosby. You know.
Yeah.
If you trade Crosby, fans stop coming to the games.
Yeah.
Which is what they deserve, but I get why Crosby's the only one off the table when he probably.
Oh, dude, it's Dubas. It's Kyle Dubas. I don't know why. Yeah, of course it's Kyle Dubas.
Yeah, Dubas's boss is Everyone else, whatever. I do not care. But that man
Yeah.
is the only reason I can pay my mortgage. Here's one that I kind of expected. Anaheim Ducks. Weird
They're
team.
not good, but like
They're
they
not
have
good.
the young core to be scary in a few years.
I just feel like they make so like that locker room must be terrible. That must be terrible to go to work as an Anaheim Duck because you hear a lot of stories about players being frustrated, specifically by management. I feel like they could actually do with a GM trade, a GM firing, sorry, and actually come out somewhere, in the middle, because there's something going wrong in that room, and I don't think it's the players. I like there is a lot of talent there. Like, I mean, just
I
look at
don't know
Zegers.
nearly enough about the Ducks to even start speculating on that.
Oh, here's one that I think might change soon. Seattle Kraken. They put Gribby on waivers just the other
Yeah.
day. Like, they paid that man a lot of money to not play ice hockey.
Yeah.
Would you put the fall of the Kraken entirely on him?
No. The Kraken have been good with terrible goaltending, so
Well, that's the thing. If they were good with good goaltending, like,
yeah, but now they're bad with bad goaltending. So that we've seen them be good with bad goaltending
true.
in the past.
I don't think it's been this bad though, because Gribby is like the worst goaltender in the league,
Yeah.
like easily. Nashville Predators.
That's a fucking mystery, dude. I don't know what's going on there. They had
Oh man,
on paper they probably had the best offseason out of anybody last summer. On paper, on paper,
Caps.
on paper,
On paper.
on paper,
On paper. Okay.
on paper.
No, that's fair. Could you imagine getting Stammer and then drop, because they were in the playoffs, right? Or
Yeah,
they
imagine
wild
walking
card?
by Steven Stamkos on the streets of Detroit and deciding you're going to draft him in the third round in your fantasy league that night. Thanks, Stamkos.
You must have jinxed him, man. You did something.
I think
to
it's
him.
my fault. It's not your fault. You didn't arrive in Detroit for. So, cards on the table. So just so everyone knows, Sam and I were in Detroit for our friend's wedding, in October, and I walked by Steven Stamkos because the Preds were playing the Red Wings the following night, and I was like, "Oh, that's a sign I'm going to draft him." And then Sam didn't arrive in Detroit until later that night, so it's definitely not your fault. I think it's my fault.
No, I'm clean. Is he still? I think he's still on pace for like 60 points though.
Yeah, he's gonna have like a 30-goal season still. I think like it's not. It's like it's awful for him, but like for an NHL player in general, he's still good. So I don't know what's going on there.
It makes me feel bad that he got traded in the end, because I feel like he would have taken a team friendly deal. I didn't. Hang on, wasn't
Not
there a
as
story
team
about
friendly
that?
as they were demanding he take. I think they were offering him like $3 million or something.
I mean,
He scored 40
controversial
goals
opinion.
last year, man. Fuck $3 million.
That is too low, but also at that period of his career, like what was his last contract? Like 8 million, something like that.
I think it was in that neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah, and he would have had that for probably like 6 years. Like, once you make a certain amount of millions of dollars, how much more millions of dollars do you actually really need? Like,
Sometimes you want to make
see
sure
a
that your
world
great
where you
grandkids can go to college. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I don't even know my great grandkids, but I don't think they're going to college. I'm pretty sure they'll be growing up in a climate change destroyed world, but that's fine. That's their problem to deal with. Then Buffalo Sabres. They're coming
That's
right
shocking.
next to.
That's shocking how bad they've been this year. I fully expected it to be a
fell
battle
off
between
a
Ottawa and
cliff.
Buffalo for that last wildcard spot in the East. So this is
not even.
shocking.
Do you want to guess the last two? I think you know.
Oh, it's got to be Chicago, San Jose.
Yeah. What is the deal with, like, I mean, Chicago? I always see I don't get why Chicago is always so bad. I mean, it's only really been
Well, I mean,
what,
look at the
last couple of
lineup, and
years?
that'll tell you right there.
I feel like they have an opportunity to be better than they are, and nothing's clicking. Um, Actually, let me look at the Chicago Blackhawks lineup.
I think it's pretty easy for Chicago to just say like they got Bedard, and like I don't want to disrespect Nick Foligno. Nick Foligno is one of my all-time favorite hockey players. He's like he's an all-time favorite for me as an Ottawa Senators fan. Which is crazy because he's played for so many teams that I can't fucking stand, between Boston, Chicago, and Toronto. Barely played in Toronto, which is nice. But yeah, like Nick Foligno, I'll never say a bad word about him. But like, I mean, just look at that lineup around Bedard. Like, he's got no help, and they traded away Taylor Hall. Like,
I mean, I don't think Tyler Bertuzzi is that bad.
I mean, he's not that good.
He's definitely top 6. I don't know top I don't think
No.
number 1, but
No. But can I tell you what I've decided I hope happens with the San Jose Sharks?
they fold. They just combine San Jose and Chicago.
This also comes into a my hater side a little bit, but Macklin Celebrini is so friggin' good. I really want to see them make sure that they have the cap space to go after Mitch Marner in free agency.
Do you really think that'd make all that big a deal? Because like I think they have talent. Like I really like Will Smith. It's surprising to see him on the top line already. Tyler Toffoli, I like. The entire bottom 6, I'm just like, oh, these are just names. Do they play hockey? I guess. I'd have no idea why they went out and got Cody Ceci though. Like, that's I just do not understand
for
that.
the bit, man. It's for the bit. Cody Ceci's on your team. It's for the bit. No, I think that'd be very funny. But yeah.
But like Macklin is dope though.
He's
and
unbelievable.
It would be nice.
He's so good. But yeah, just quickly, because we are starting to run out of time here. We've already gone over, you fucker. Sens are third in the division and have been for the majority of the last week and a half, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, it's just a pretty nice look at the playoff picture right now. The other night there was a perfect night. The Habs, Bruins, Lightning, and the Rangers all lost in regulation on Tuesday night. And at this point, it's just like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful right now. The Sens, as Hamza points out in the chat, the Sens are only 4 points back of Toronto for second in the division. 5 points back of Florida for first with a game in hand. So I don't think we're going to see the Sens jump that high up, but it's pretty fun to think about, especially since if the playoffs started today, we'd be seeing a Sens Leafs first round.
Oh boy. I don't know if I give that to the Leafs either.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It'd be something. It'd be very interesting to see.
All you got to do is make the playoffs, and then weird stuff happens.
Oh yeah, I mean anything can happen. Anything can happen. Before we get into our next segment, just want to let everyone know that the Game Over Network, as everyone would expect, we are on social media. And if you're enjoying the show so far, you probably want more of this, right? More Australians. Well, we can't promise you more Australians. We don't have anyone from Australia on our payroll, but make sure you hit the like button on this video, click subscribe on our channel, and make sure you check the notification bell so you're alerted when we go live. If you're listening to our podcast, please give us a 5-star rating or even write a positive review. You can say, I like the Australian guy. If you really like us, make sure to follow us on your favorite social media platforms. You can find the Game Over Network on Blue Sky at thegameovernetwork.com, on TikTok and Twitter at GameOverNHL, or Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn at Game Over Network. For me, you can find me on Blue Sky and Twitter. Do I have the same handle? I should know my Blue Sky handle. What am I doing? My Blue Sky handle is charsenault.bluesky.social. On Twitter, it's at CW Arsenault. Sam, are you on either of those things?
No, no, I'm
Smart,
not.
smart. It's a smart
Yeah.
move. I can't plug any of your links. Um,
I have a website for a comic book that I write, halftonehounds.com. Maybe
there we
if you
go.
like comic books, maybe buy one, please. But yeah, so that's kind of like my social media, Halftone Hounds.
There you go. Beautiful.
Yeah, you can find me there.
And of course, you can find us at thegameovernetwork.com, where you can sign up for our upcoming newsletter. Let's head on over to our third segment. What up, Louie in the chat? What a win. Damn right, buddy. Damn right.
Do you want to do another sends just very quickly for Louis?
Oh yeah, Louis. The sends goes out to Louis. There we go. There you go. He got sensed. So I was planning on making this a longer section of the episode, but I'll just kind of leave it for closer to the deadline. I was gonna look over at some trade deadline targets for the Sens, but let's just stick to just Vancouver, and I'm gonna do a very quick thing on each of them. Everyone's losing their mind over the fact that Elias Pettersson is probably on the trade block right now. And it's probably, I mean, from by all accounts, the Canucks are not getting the price that they want for either Pettersson or Miller. I imagine Pettersson's still going to fetch something of value. Like he's got to. He's what, 26. He's a number one center. He's not scoring a ton right now, but he's put up 100 points. He's got like a great two-way game. If
He's
the
a
Sens
valuable player.
yeah, if the Sens make a move for him, like it's going to cost a lot. It'd probably be Norris plus. Like honestly, it depends on what everyone else is offering. Obviously, like the biggest factor in that is like who do you have to outbid? But I could see it being like Norris, and like you might have to part with another piece of the top six, or like a Pinto or a Greg, and like 100-point players who are also like defensively super responsible don't grow on trees. So like I understand why you want to go after him. But like tearing down a good chunk of your core to add him, as fun as Stützle and Pettersson down the middle would be, God, it's scary. Not all that interested in trading for Miller at this point, just with his age. And I don't think he'd enjoy being in Ottawa anyway. What I want the Sens to do is ideally pick up Brock Besser on the cheap as a rental, because his contract expires this year, I believe. And I think Besser would be a perfect player to stick on Stützle's wing, because it seems like that top line of Tkachuk, Giroux, and Stützle seems to be making a comeback. Which and if that's the case, then like sure, that's cool. Like we like that. Let me just double check on, because like I believe tonight the second line at least started out as Norris, Batherson, and Perron, which worked out clearly. Like there was some great plays from all those guys. They all had a really solid game. Maybe not so much Batherson. So I don't know. Like it just depends on whether or not you want to shake up the lineup. Because Stützle, Tkachuk, Giroux has been a great line for years, kind of on and off. I guess they've been mixing stuff up, but like the main thing that Stützle's been missing is that goal scoring winger, and I think that's exactly what Brock Besser is. So I don't know if you want to do like a Tkachuk, Stützle, Besser, Norris. Try Norris on the wing, Giroux down the middle, Batherson. I don't know what you do with that, but I just like the team's playing well, and yeah, maybe Norris isn't that like top line center you were hoping he'd become when you paid him $8 million a year after he had like one really solid season. I just
What do you actually think the trade value of Brock Besser and JT Miller actually are? Because I don't know if it's actually all that high, considering.
I don't think it is. I think you can get Besser for, like, honestly, like, just because he is a rental, like a second and like a B-level prospect might get it done.
I would love to live in a world where the Capitals traded for JT Miller and Brock Besser. They traded Larzella, Andrew Mangiapane, maybe a couple of seconds. And I don't think that's actually a terrible deal.
And you're including, I don't think so.
Andrew Mangiapane's not a bad player.
No. but
He's a
the
young
Caps
guy
are going to
too.
trade 2 seconds and 2 players and get 2 vastly better players.
I mean, why would you trade for worse players, Charlie?
Okay.
Why would you do that?
All right. But I think I'm sure closer to the deadline.
I'd give
I'll
give up a
see.
first.
Yeah,
How about that? I'll give you a first.
there you go. I think what we'll probably plan to do. I don't know if we're gonna do any big like trade deadline show or anything this year. It'd be fun if we did as like on the network hub channel. I don't know if that's going to be in the cards this year or not, but leading up to the trade deadline, I definitely want to do a bit more of a deep dive into that. We just kind of ran out of time. Didn't quite have it in me to go through it hardcore tonight. We're going to get to that later on. But I did want to just point out, like, hey, I think Brock Besser is the move for the Sens. And on that note, let me tell you some more stuff.
Stuff.
We're going to get some more stuff. The stuff being, we got merch. We got hella merch. I'm just going to cover Sam's face with some of this merch just so you guys know how nice it is. Because I mean, just look at that merch.
What a lovely merch.
It's a good merch. So what better way to support something you love than by repping it on yourself? Game Over's apparel line has dropped with 3 unique lines. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our live and die by the goalie design, or if you just need another cup of coffee and a toque to get you through the winter, we have you covered. Designed by Brady from Game Over Winnipeg, and he did such a phenomenal job with this. Use a QR code on stream right now. Take a look at our apparel store and help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. I bought the 2 hoodies. They are fantastic. Worth noting though, for everyone who wants to make an order size up. They tend to fit a little on the snug side. So if you're looking for some lounge wear, just like really just kind of like something to put on and just relax and be all lazy in, order size up. All right, well, with that, we're in overtime. Just like the Sens and the Caps, we are now in overtime. Next goal wins. Next goal loses.
Sorry, I was drawing a chicken.
Oh, are you drawing a chicken? Can I see the chicken?
Oh, sorry.
Your pop filter's covered. Oh, that's a nice chicken.
It's a little chicken. You can buy this chicken at the merch store.
Yeah, from Louis in the chat here. Sens playoff odds at 1,000,000% per LB Hockey after tonight's game. That checks out. I think that checks out. Thanks, Louis.
You beat the
of
second
LB
best
Hockey.
team in the league. That means that's good things for you.
Yeah. Also, a quick plug for Louis. LB Hockey is legit, and I love it. Totally worth sending Louis your money. Great analytics, great stuff. You can build a team of Pokemon through hockey players. So that's a whole other thing. I haven't tested that out yet. I'm gonna do that. LB Hockey, free plug. Love you, Louis. Let's see. Here we go.
Actually, I want to try that out too. That sounds like fun.
From Game Over Ottawa's own Mike. What a game, especially since our wins recently have been the opposite of this usually low scoring. Plus, wow, was the officiating bad that game? Yeah, the officiating was nuts. Yeah. Usually with officiating like that, you kind of see the game get a little out of hand, but it was I mean, like, despite a game with that many penalties, the players were more or less on their best behavior for the whole thing.
Yeah, they really didn't seem all too mad at each other.
No, it seemed pretty good. Well, I think with that, we're going to wrap it up here, folks. Big win for the Sens, maintaining their position 3rd in the division, unless I'm missing another game that ended. You know what I should do? I should plug the next game. When is the next Sens game, and who is hosting? The next Ottawa Senators game is, I believe it's on Saturday. This is my guess. It is. It's on Saturday against the Wild. And this is the game at home. I don't know who's going to start for Minnesota. Potentially Marc-Andre Fleury's last game in Ottawa. If he's playing, and if not, his last game on the bench in Ottawa. I remember way back in the day, my parents splurged and bought us tickets to go see the Penguins. This is like 2011. The Sens were bad. The Penguins were good. So for Christmas, my brother and I, as a gift, we got tickets. Our family's going to go see the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're going to go see Sidney Crosby and just like this loaded team. Crosby and Malkin were hurt, and the Sens were bad, so Fleury was on the bench. And so
no, so you didn't even get to see.
So that was kind of rough. Anyway,
And the Sens lost too, right?
oh, probably, almost certainly, almost certainly lost that game. But yeah, it might be probably gonna be Fleury's last game, whether he's playing or not, in Ottawa. So Saturday, that game's gonna be hosted by Damien. So everyone go tune in Saturday night for some Sens wild action, and hang out with Damien after the game. Gonna be a good time.
The next Sens Caps game is the 4th of March, apparently. Do you think I'll be back for that one?
I'll see. I'll see if we can work it out. I'll see if we can work it out.
I want to get the
week
record for the regular guest on this channel.
Yeah, it's a 6:30 start.
Yeah.
Why is it a 6:30 p.m. start?
Oh.
Is it because it's on a Monday and they know I got to go to work the next day? That's nice of them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we're gonna call it a night. Sam, thanks for joining again, buddy. I'm sure I'll probably dibs that next Caps game and bring you back on in March.
Cheers and thank you.
And thank you everyone for watching live or watching after the fact, listening after the fact, however you decide to consume Game Over Ottawa and the rest of our shows. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. And yeah, Damien, we'll see you guys on Saturday. Have a great night, everybody. It's nearly the weekend. We're nearly there. See you soon.
Bless ya.